Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. I have your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag NoDQvideo. Let's go ahead and get started. First one today comes from Garrett Mills. Since Triple H is cleared to train and his rehab is over, do you see him having a Wrestlemania match? That I do not know, but I think from Triple H's perspective, if he is able to do it, he will be there at WrestleMania in one form or another. It seems like every year Triple H has to be in a match at WrestleMania. I think it just depends on will he be cleared in time for it. Now, I feel it's unnecessary, but for those of you that have been following my videos for a while, you know I feel that way. I feel like Triple H is not needed for WrestleMania. Let that spot be reserved for somebody else who can be in a high-profile match. Triple H's WrestleMania matches, quite frankly, have been disappointing more years than not, especially in recent times. Last year was good with Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, and Stephanie, but the Seth Rollins match I thought was pretty disappointing. The Roman Reigns match I thought was a dud. The Sting match I was very disappointed with. Daniel Bryan and Triple H was great. So it's a mixed bag, but I feel like enough's enough now. Unless there's a really good storyline for Triple H and there's something that just fits and makes sense, I say sit this one out. But knowing Triple H and how he is and the need for a big star to be at WrestleMania would not shock me if he's at WrestleMania in a match. Even if he's not 100%, I could still see him being there anyways. Got this one here from Mr. Yuck. Now that Eric Rowan is aligned with Daniel Bryan, what might go on for Luke Harper? A complete repackaging, perhaps? Partner him with a face to feud with Bryan and Rowan? Reunite him with Bray Wyatt? Well, I am a little confused about what's going to happen now because I expected the Bludgeon Brothers to come back together and keep the tag team going. They seem to have some momentum as a tag team. It seemed to work well for them. Luke Harper is definitely one of the more underrated guys in WWE, and a lot of fans feel like he should be pushed stronger. Is it too late for the guy? Perhaps. You know, I think back to 2017 and the momentum he had with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and it should have been a triple threat, but that was definitely a mistake at the time. You could potentially put Luke Harper back on Raw, reunite him with Bray Wyatt. I'm not sure about that, but you could just have him be a single star. There are some things you could do with him. Would not shock me if he ends up just joining Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, and he's not a Bludgeon Brother, but he's still aligned with Rowan. He comes back and does the Save the Earth thing. Same thing as Eric Rowan. Would not shock me if that's what happens. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know. Got this one here from Chris. Hey, Aaron, is it safe to say now that Rey Mysterio's second run has exceeded expectations? And if this continues, could this rival Shawn Michaels' second run as far as being better than the first? My expectations were pretty strong because I knew he had time to heal up his body and he wasn't going to come back unless he was feeling refreshed and feel like he could still mix it up with the younger talents. I think he's doing really well for himself, and if he keeps the momentum going, who knows? I mean, that is a tall order to surpass his first run. Shawn Michaels somehow managed to do it, but HBK also had a good 8 years of a comeback. Mysterio has been back less than 6 months. So time will tell. But if he keeps it up, if he keeps going, maybe he'll be able to come close. But I think the odds are against it just because of his age and the fact that he does so many high-flying moves. And he's going to need a lengthy run to measure up with that first run in WWE. So I feel like time is working against him. But so far, he's doing great. So hats off to Rey Mysterio. Got this one here from LK Pardo 18. How about the idea of combining Andrade and Sin Cara with Rey Mysterio? Will it not ruin Andrade? And what would be the difference between them and the Lucha House Party? Well, hopefully the difference would be that this new group would be way more over and they would be taken seriously. I've seen speculation about Andrade possibly joining up with Rey Mysterio. I think putting Sin Cara with them is a mistake. Sin Cara as an act is dead. And I think it was pretty much done for once the original Sin Cara just completely screwed everything up, botched move after move. The new Sin Cara did okay, but it's not that great of a gimmick. So I don't see the need in involving Sin Cara with Rey Mysterio or Andrade at this point. Andrade and Mysterio, could they be a great tag team? Sure. And maybe Andrade will turn babyface at some point, and maybe WWE will book him like the new Eddie Guerrero and try to make him the next big Latin superstar. We'll see how that goes. Mixed feelings about it. I know some people feel they should be kept separate. They should not be teaming up. But again, what do you guys think? Leave a comment and let me know. Got this one here from Resident Sleeper 22. Hey Aaron, what do you think would have happened with the Becky and Charlotte feud if the fans had booed Becky after she turned heel at SummerSlam the way WWE hoped? Would Becky have even won the title at Hell in a Cell, or just another hurdle for Charlotte to clear? So, excuse me for that. My take on Charlotte and Becky, if Becky had just done the heel turn and the fans had not rebelled in the way that they did, I feel that Charlotte would have won the feud, and it would have been Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. I think the fans helped make this Becky Lynch WrestleMania main event a reality. I think it was the fans that were vocal and wanted to see Becky in that spot over Charlotte, and that's what led to plans being changed in WWE. But yeah, I think it would have been Charlotte winning the feud, Charlotte facing Ronda at WrestleMania, had this Becky momentum not begun with the heel turn and the fans getting firmly behind her, even more than they already were. Got this one here from Boogeyman79. If you could put superstars of today versus superstars of the original ECW, what matches would you book? I'd say AJ Styles versus Rob Van Dam and Daniel Bryan versus Jerry Lynn as a double main event. Your thoughts? I do like those matches, and I think any RVD versus top high-flying guy in WWE is going to be a very attractive match. You look at a possible Seth Rollins versus RVD match. That would be amazing. Even somebody like Samoa Joe, who is known for hardcore wrestling, like Samoa Joe versus Terry Funk would be awesome. That would be a great one to see. There's so many combinations. When you look back at the old ECW and those original stars, you know, with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, even though they were only there a short period of time, I'd love to see them in the mix with some of the newer guys, you know, whether it's Seth Rollins or Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan for that matter. And if we're talking about guys that were staples of ECW, you know, Tommy Dreamer, you look at some of the hardcore guys of today, again, Tommy Dreamer and Samoa Joe, they may have wrestled already, whether it's Ring of Honor or TNA, I don't remember, but the two of them in their prime would have been really good. So there's a lot of combinations, and it's hard to just pick one match with any one guy. Like I said, RVD could have some great matches with most of the current guys in WWE. Got this one here from Garrett Mills. If Daniel Bryan is supposed to be the new Daniel Bryan, why does he still have the same look in music? Well, look-wise, I think he just wants to do his own thing with the long hair and the beard. And as far as music goes, I think it's just laziness on WWE's part. One of the problems with Ambrose, when they turned him heel, they could have easily changed his music and they could have come up with something creative for him. But no, they just added sirens to his music. And with Daniel Bryan, there's no music change. He still has the same song that he had before. And Jim Johnston would change up the music. When a character turned heel, Jim Johnston would compose new music for that guy. You look at Steve Austin when he turned heel, when The Rock went Hollywood, and on the flip side, when a heel would turn babyface, when Mankind turned face, he got the new music. And you look at all these guys where their music would change up when they would switch to the other side. And WWE really doesn't do that much. I mean, the only recent example I can think of is Nakamura, because they were attempting to get fans to stop singing his song since he was a heel, and it still didn't even work, but at least it was a change for his character. So that was good, but we haven't really seen that enough as far as I'm concerned. And sometimes I feel like the music just doesn't fit the character. That was one of the great things about Jim Johnston compared to the CFOs, because Jim Johnston knew the characters well and knew how to compose music that fit the character. I feel like with CFOs, yeah, they sometimes come up with interesting songs that are catchy, but they necessarily don't fit the character that well. And when a character changes, we don't really see any updated version of the theme song, with a few exceptions. Got this one here from Kyle Allen. When the Bella Twins get into the WWE Hall of Fame as a duo, who would induct them into the Hall of Fame? And I promise you that was not Caitlin sending the question. So I know it's a controversy because the Bella Twins are very polarizing. I think they will probably go into the Hall of Fame just for the fact that they did produce Total Divas and Total Bellas and brought in some new female viewers to the WWE product and helped WWE a bit attract more casual female viewers. Now, as far as who would put them in the Hall of Fame, and plus Nikki Bella has the title reign record, and I know a lot of people aren't happy about that. I mean, the obvious choice would be Daniel Bryan. Maybe John Cena if John and Nikki get back together. Looking at some other possibilities, maybe Natalya, because she's been so close with them, or one of the other Total Divas cast members could do it. I mean, those would be the top names, the obvious ones that I can think of. Maybe John Laurinaitis will do it. Got this one here from Oscar. Though highly unlikely in all likelihood, how big of a deal would it be if CM Punk was booked for the Ring of Honor New Japan show at Madison Square Garden the night before WrestleMania 35? It would obviously be a huge deal. It would generate a lot of buzz, but I think the real buzz would be CM Punk going to All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, CM Punk coming in would be a big deal, but it's not going to sell any more tickets. The event's already sold out. I think if Punk showed up at Double or Nothing, then that could potentially lead to more ticket sales for future AEW events. And of course, CM Punk could possibly help New Japan, but I feel like Punk's best value is with All Elite Wrestling if he decides to come back to wrestling, which of course seems unlikely at this point. Like you said, highly unlikely, but never say never. Got this one here from Miguel Ortiz. Did you prefer when the Royal Rumble was 15 Raw and 15 SmackDown stars, or is the current format they have now better? I'm fine with what they do now. Now, keep in mind that Raw is a 3-hour show and has more people on the roster, so it's really not fair when you look at it in storyline terms. When there's 3 hours of Raw and 2 hours of SmackDown, Raw has a bigger roster, so 15 and 15 isn't really fair to Raw. But I do... And I don't like a set number either. I don't like saying there's going to be 15 Raw stars, 15 SmackDown stars. I like just saying we're going to have some Raw guys, some SmackDown guys, and maybe some surprises. Maybe some NXT stars. Maybe some legends. So I'm fine with that. I'd rather they just announce like 10 guys from each brand and then leave the remaining 10 as surprises. That's what I would do if I was going to do it. Got this one here from Zane Johnson. All right, Zane Johnson, the schlock. Hey, Aaron, what is the point of WWE shortening names like Alexander Rusev or Antonio Cesaro? Why would they sacrifice a badass name like Andrade Sin Almas by making it Andrade? Easy answer is that WWE just feels it's more marketable to use one name. And with some characters, I think that it can hurt the marketability if it's too long of a name. You know, keep it short and sweet. I get that. Sometimes I like the guys just having their name and not making it too short. And the fact that their names get completely ignored now, like Andrade will never be referred to as Cien Almas again, seems a bit silly. They could just call him all miss for the most part. But this goes way back. I mean, for many years. You look back at Bill Goldberg in WCW. WCW felt it was just more marketable to make him bill him as Goldberg. You have the Goldberg t-shirt, you know, a shirt that says Goldberg just seems more appealing than a shirt that says Bill Goldberg on it. So I think that's the idea behind it. It's more marketable, and at least do what WCW did. They would still call him Bill from time to time, but, you know, Goldberg was the emphasis. But it seems silly now with WWE because they just drop the names completely and don't even reference them. Like Antonio Cesaro, he hasn't been called Antonio for years. Not even once, I think. And same thing with Alexander Rusev. But yeah, Rusev by itself sounds fine, so I get it. Got this one here from WTF Hefe. Maybe I'm way off base, but if Edge had stayed healthy, could he have pushed Cena and himself into Stone Cold and Rock territory? I think they could have. Well, it depends on what you're talking about with that. As far as drawing power goes, Edge and John Cena were never going to be at The Rock and Stone Cold's level. Now, if you're talking about the quality of the feud and memorable matches, perhaps, but you have to keep in mind a few things. First of all, Edge was already moved on past John Cena by the time he retired. And I don't think they were going to go back to that. And the other thing is that Edge was getting ready for retirement. It's just the injury made him retire sooner, a few more years than he had planned. But I don't think they were going to go back to Cena versus Edge. I don't think they were going to recreate that feud. So, no, I don't think it was ever going to reach Stone Cold and Rock level, even if Edge had stayed in the business for a few more years. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting the site. Make sure you check out the previous video. A lot of content up on the channel and the website, so stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, tell a friend. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors, and I will see you guys next time.